Welcome back, Wavesa, and at a request from one of my lovely subscribers, I decided that I would do a Darkstrider video. And I'll give you a little bit of the lore on the guy and what I use him for in strategies on the tabletop. So, in the lore, Darkstrider is kind of your rogue infantryman. He's one of the great, not commanders I would say, but great fighters of the Tau that never went on to pilot a battlesuit. He always stayed down at the lowest rank with the Pathfinders and would lead them. So much so that when he debuted in the Damocles Gulf Crusade, he led his Pathfinder squad to find a member of the Officio Assassinorum sent to kill Commander Farsight and saved Farsight from getting assassinated and even killed the assassin himself with his Pathfinder squad. So he's pretty big deal. He's real impressive. He is very much an infantry man, and in the tabletop that reflects with his buffing of infantry. If you'd want to like compare him to anything in particular, I'd say go with maybe like the SEAL team or like a Navy SEAL or Green Beret or something of that effect for the Tau. Really impressive guy. And just to emphasize his SEAL Team 6 aspect, he once took down Be'lakor for me. And Be'lakor was on his last 2 wounds. Just one of his shots piped straight through his brain, took him out in the middle of the board. It was very impressive. But I digress. And as for his data sheet, he's not anything particularly impressive. He's basic Pathfinder. He's got a 4-up save, which is pretty nice. His gun is like the same range as all the other Pathfinders, but it's damage 2 instead of damage 1, which is really good if you ever get someone to fail a save on it. He overall isn't too terribly durable, and what he brings to the table is mostly his buffs to the unit that he's a part of, or to better put it, his denying to other units to interact with him. So what he has is, which is probably the most valuable thing that he has, is a Deep Strike Deny aura, where within the 12 inches around him, you cannot come in from reserves within 12 inches of him. That really helps screening out against, well, other Tau players who want to get up close and personal and try to beat you up, or any guys that have teleporting or deep striking shenanigans like demons, Grey Knights, different very mobile units that want to get up close and personal and really hurt your gun line and your Tau and tie him up. So what I always use him for is to have one part of the board completely locked down where no one can jump in and deep strike too close so that they can't just get rid of my heavy guns. Typically, I'll have him partnered up in a Pathfinder squad so that he is actually safe, so some wounds around him, because he is so squishy and dies so easily. 3 wounds with a 4-up save is not that impressive, and no invuln, he'd die real fast, unless you had him really well hidden. And even then, he's super susceptible to indirect fire, because T3, even if he gets a +1 to his save on a 3-up, like you fail 3 saves, you're done. Any AP on that, it's a 50-50 shot that he'll just die. So I always like having him with a Pathfinder squad, a nice blade of wounds that'll keep him safe. And also, if you connect him to a Pathfinder squad, you don't have to give that Pathfinder squad the drone that lets them forward deploy into the middle board. So he's very easy to place wherever the heck you want him, and the nice buff that he gives to the Pathfinders is he has the ability to give them +1 to wound. And unlike Farsight, it's not within 9 inches, it's just +1 to wound all the time. So your Strength 5 carbines wound Marines on 2s, and Strength 5 is a nice number that it's very hard to double them, so like you'd have something Strength 10 and then they'd be wounding on 6s, but they wouldn't because they're wounding on 5s because it's +1. Anything that's T9, they'll be wounding on 4s. So overall, it's a very good buff. Oh, and this isn't to mention the rail rifles that are Strength 10, so they'll be wounding just about everything on 2s, 3s, and Strength 10 vehicles, they will wound on 3s as well, not 4s. And there's nothing that's Toughness 20, so they'll wound everything else on 4s. So it's always 4s or better for your rail rifles. All this is to simply say that Farsight is really good at locking down a certain part of the board, and when you give him a blade of wounds to work with, he can really buff up some of your other heavier hitting weapons that normally wouldn't do so well. Plus, with the pregame move and shenanigans, you could really pop off real quick early on in the game 3 really powerful railgun shots that are most likely going to hit if you use Coordinate to engage, so they can hit on 3s, and they are most likely to wound because Darkstrider gives them that inherent buff to wounding power. Honestly, Darkstrider to me seems way more like he'd be in the Enclaves than he would in the Tau, but that's besides the point. I know there are some tactics to run him solo and put him in the backfield to like screen out your opponents because of just the 12-inch deny bubble that he has. I think it's a nice idea. I just don't like it because I don't think we're fully utilizing him to his greatest potential when he's leading a unit, but that's just my own personal opinion. Anyways, let me know what you think of Darkstrider, how you run him, what you think is the best way to use him. I hope I've helped out a little bit. I just always run him with his Pathfinder squad like he was in the lore and use him as that nice like elite forward unit to help guide other units, and then you coordinate to engage in order to destroy something with your rail rifles that you got packing with him. Anyways, I hope this helped, and I hope your day goes for the greater good.